Hi everyone, welcome to the Redesigning School Counseling webinar for school steering teams. My name is Sue Reynolds. I'm president of the American Student Achievement Institute. And today's webinar is on really two things. First, we're going to look at root causes. And then once we've talked about how to identify your school's root causes, then we'll immediately go into how to start searching for solutions to those root causes. So we'll talk about delivery method exploration and activity exploration. Okay, so basically I just went over the agenda. So we'll do an overview of root causes, we'll talk about how to prep for the meeting, and then we'll look at the root causes for our root cause meeting. So a couple of updates before we start. I checked this morning, you guys have surveyed 32,726 students. That's phenomenal. Really, really pleased. We know that for a lot of you that meant that you really had to hit the ground running in January. We know that there are a few schools that are still surveying. That's fine. But just you guys just really hit this, nailed this, and we're just very, very pleased. So good job, you guys. Just a reminder too that the submission icons are now live, so you can hit that submission icon that sends your work to Janet and Debbie to review, and then they'll put a status up, and if you click that status, it'll give you some comments about why they assigned the status that they did. If you have any questions about their comments, please feel free to call Debbie and Janet. You know, sometimes you have additional information that they weren't aware of that you just need to add to their conversation. I talked with the school this morning, and you know, suggested, yeah, call you know, the support specialist, and you know, explain that to them, and then you know, with that understanding, I'm sure you know they're going to feel fine with changing a needs revision to a meets criteria C comments. So you know, open up the discussion as we need to if there's more information that we need, or if there's just something that's impossible for you to do, just call and explain that to us. So we're very flexible. We've all, you know, been employed in schools or have worked closely with schools, so we know how that goes. So please call when you have any questions. Okay, and then we also wanted to mention again that we know that some of you have multiple technical assistance providers. And again, that's kind of like being on a sports team and having coaches that are maybe sending you in different directions. So we really want to make sure that you're helping your other technical assistance providers understand the services that you've contracted with us about. So we need to make sure that you've helped them understand that you already have an organizational structure, you're already collecting data, you already have planned discussions with a community-based group, and then this design process that you're working through. So yeah, so just help your other providers know that, and if they want to call us and talk about that, or if you'd like us to call them to talk about it, we'd be happy to do that. Okay. Also remember on the RSC Uses page that we want to make sure that you've identified the different providers so that we know who's working with whom. That's really helpful to us. Okay, the one question that we got considerably last month as I talked with Debbie and Janet, this was a question that they said that they've been getting a lot from schools. So this last month you looked at identifying priority goals. And the question that came up was how many priority goals should we have? And unfortunately there's not one concrete answer to that. It depends. So if your school is planning to develop a really comprehensive program with a 4-year implementation phase that, you know, you're really looking at a major overhaul of your school and you're thinking about having different delivery models and, you know, really revamping everything. And especially if you're looking at that 4-year implementation phase, we think it's very, very doable to have 5 to 10 priority goals per grade level. You know, you can do those with a stepped implementation, do some of them 1 year, some more of them the next year. You know, so that's you know, that's fine. If you're not going to do a comprehensive program, if you're going to continue with a traditional school counseling program, then you're not adding on additional delivery methods, and you're only having a 1-year implementation phase, so everything's kind of traditional, like a traditional Gold Star school would do, then we're suggesting 1 to 3 priority goals. if this is going to be an add-on to what you're already doing, one would be a lot of work. So, because you're already busy doing everything else. So if you're looking at a traditional school counseling program, 1 to 3 is fine. If you're really looking at being comprehensive, and if you're thinking about the Lilly Grant and you want to be competitive, we're really looking at overhauling your program. And with that in mind, we're thinking 5 to 10 per grade level, is probably what you're looking at. So yeah, so things to think about. And again, there's no right or wrong answer here. Janet or Debbie may call you to say, we see you're applying for the Lilly Grant and the implementation grant, and we notice you only have one priority goal. We don't think that's going to make your application for that grant real competitive. And, let's kind of think out of the box in this. How can we get more time to address more priority goals? And of course, we would suggest different delivery methods. I'll talk a little bit about that today. The other thing that it depends on is some of the priority goals can be addressed through the same activities. So let's say you had a priority goal that every student had a written career goal, that's 1. Every student had a written post-secondary education plan, that's 2. And every student had a 4-year high school course plan, that's 3. Well, you could combine all 3 of those into a guidance initiative where you talk about careers and post-secondary and 4-year course plans all at the same time. And in that case, we've taken 3 priority goals, but it's really going to be only the work of, that would be the equivalent of 1, because we're going to combine them all into one activity. So this is really all very subjective. You need to be thinking about how comprehensive do you want your program to be? Are you doing a major overhaul, or is this just going to be an add-on to the program that you're already doing? Were you able, in the resources discussion, were you able to get rid of non-program activities? That's going to make room for more priority goals. So the whole thing's really kind of subjective. So just wanted to cover that a little bit, because that question came up a lot last month. Okay, so quick review. This is what we've done so far. So you hit the ground running in January. You put together your steering team, your council, you collected data. Then you looked at doing program goals. You expanded your resources, and now priority goals. So you're coming into this discussion with your priority goals set. One other thing I want to mention about those priority goals is they can be kind of fluid. As you're out exploring other schools and going to conferences, in 3 weeks from now, a light bulb may go off in your head and you may be thinking, oh my gosh, that should have been a priority goal. Well, just come right back in and edit your work. Give us a heads up so that we can take another look at it. But these priority goals kind of need to be fluid. We don't really need to finalize them until, we want to look at them now because it's going to guide our activity exploration. But we can make edits all the way up until, if you're doing the Lilly Grant, up until the Lilly Grant. If you're not doing the Lilly Grant, you can make edits forever. So yeah, so everything in RSC is always fluid as you learn more. Okay, so now that we have these these kind of priority goals that are, really final goals, but with, we know that we can change them if we need to. So we've got these priority goals. Now we want to figure out, this month, we're looking at what's getting in the way of kids making those choices. Why aren't they making those choices? And then as soon as we know what's getting in the way, we're going to start exploring what could we do to fix those things. So it's what's getting in the way, how do we fix it? What do we need? How do we fix it? So, it's just the kind of in any improvement process, that's the gist of it, figuring out what you need to do and then doing it. So we're going to figure out what's getting in the way, and then immediately we're going to start exploring how do we fix it. Then once we have done that exploration, then in April we'll define what are the delivery methods going to be that you're going to use next school year, and what activities are you going to put in place next school year. You'll have the option of, when you get to preparation, you'll have the option of planning out a 4-year plan or a 1-year plan, depending on how far down the line you want to plan for. So, and again, if you're doing the Lilly grant, you'd want to go ahead with the 4-year plan, but you're not required to. So, okay, so and then in May, we'll do that preparation. That's when you're going to write your implementation plan and your budget. And then all of your work will be finished by May 9th. And then your district will have between May 9th and May 19th, 10 days to take all of your work and compile it into a grant application if they would like to plan submit a grant app. So, okay, so that's the process. I'm going to stop here. I don't think probably anybody's typed any questions yet in, but Debbie, let me check real quickly. Are we seeing questions?
We don't see any questions. I do have one hand up, okay. And that is, let me look here, Kim Harris.
Okay, can you unmute her?
Yes.
Great. Kim, hi, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. What part of the state are you calling in from?
I'm actually up in Northwest Indiana in Lowell.
Okay, Lowell, great. So question or comment?
I think that might have been an accident. I don't think I meant to do that. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, at least we know it works. Wonderful.
Yes, congratulations.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. Thanks. Okay, okay, so let's look at root causes and talk about them a little bit more in depth. So here's a definition. A root cause, they're the things that get in the way of your priority goals. So whatever choices you're wanting kids to make, your priority choices, we're saying, why aren't kids making those choices? So those are your root causes. And they answer the question then, why aren't more students making the choice that we want them to make? So your root causes will tend to fall in 3 areas. Kids are not making choices, the choices you want them to make in your school, because they lack knowledge that they need to make that choice, or they lack the opportunity to make the choice that you want them to make, or they have a social emotional issue that's interfering with their ability to make all choices well. So as we're thinking about why aren't kids choosing to submit a FAFSA, if that's the choice we want them to make, well, maybe they don't know what a FAFSA is, so there's lack of knowledge. Maybe we haven't explained to them how to get a FAFSA, there's lack of opportunity, or maybe they have social personal issues that, that are interfering with all their decisions. So what we're going to be doing is looking at data to help us figure out why kids aren't making those choices you want them to make. So here's just examples of what the data would look like. So it might be lacking knowledge. 87% of the 8th graders don't know that there are different types of financial aid. Lack of opportunity. Only 7% of the 12th graders attend a financial aid program. And 37% of the students report that bullying is interfering with their ability to learn. So there's all these clues or these hints in the data. So one thing I really want to point out, because remember that RSC statistically has been proven by independent researchers to impact achievement. And we believe that that when schools do this step very carefully, that's what makes the difference. We're really trying to figure out why aren't kids making those choices that they need to make to be successful at school. So schools that improve student choices tend to carefully identify their root causes for each one of your priority goals. So we're going to look at each priority goal one at a time. And then later, once we know what the problems are, then we'll implement activities to fix those problems, to fix the root causes. Okay, so I kind of feel like we're like Sherlock Holmes. We're looking at data. We're digging in and trying to figure out why aren't kids making those choices? Why aren't they doing things that we would like them to do? So okay, so clues in the data. We have 3 different data reports that come from 2 sources that you'll be digging into for this step. One is the guidance needs report that came from the student survey. So that's going to help us understand what kids know and what they don't know. Then there's the counseling needs report that also came from the survey, and that's going to help you decide if there's social emotional issues that are getting in the way. And then there's the student opportunities report, which came from the counselor questionnaire that you filled out at the beginning of the survey setup. So there's 3 different data reports, and you'll dig in and try to find out, is there a lack of knowledge, is there a social emotional issue, or are we not giving kids the opportunities that they need to do those things? Okay, so that's kind of where we're going with your council. We'll be giving the council the data and helping them look for, those causes, those root causes. So there's a little bit of prep that we need to do for this meeting. First of all, we're going to send your council members a memo. The nice thing about it is that it's an automated memo. All you're going to do is push a button and it will automatically be mailed to all of your council members. So here's what the memo looks like. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, we're doing an introduction, we're thanking people for being involved, and then we're saying, as a reminder, our priority goals are to increase the percentage of students who, and then our computer will take what you wrote, what you entered as your priority goals, and they'll write them word for word into this email. So make sure you like the language in those priority goals. And then we're explaining that students may not be making these choices because they lack knowledge, they have a social personal issue, or they don't have the opportunities. And to save time at our next meeting, please complete the steps listed below. Okay, so then I scroll down in the email, and what I see here is step 1, open each of the data reports listed below. So at the very bottom of the email are links to your school's data reports. And then we're asking people that while these reports do not contain any individual student data, they do contain information that some may consider sensitive and should not be shared with others. Personally, I don't think any of this data is sensitive. I think this is data that we should all be talking about. But just to be sensitive that, maybe some of this group data, some people would find sensitive if, the newspapers published it or whatever. We're asking people just not to share it, just to keep it, within the council. I should want to really emphasize, though, that there's no individual student data that's shared. So there's nothing in this that would make you non-compliant with FERPA. So everything here is FERPA compliant. Okay, so that's step 1. Then we're saying, as you read each report, ask yourself, what could be keeping our students from making the choices that we identified as our priority goals? And when you find an answer in the data, please write the following on a sticky note. And then this is a possible root cause. So on a sticky note, they're going to write the priority goal that this data was linked to, the report title, so that did they get it out of the guidance report, the counseling report, or the opportunities report, the possible root cause data. So, so they would write, we found that only 2% of our students know what a FAFSA is. That's a possible root cause. And then they're going to write their initials so that when we're collecting those sticky notes later, we know who came up with that idea. Okay, so then they scroll down and we give them some examples of what those sticky notes look like. So you'll see on these 3 examples, the priority goal is the same for all 3, increase the percent who enroll in AP. And the first thing we found is some data in the guidance report that may help us understand why kids aren't enrolling in AP. 50% don't know that the school even offers college level courses. And then student assistance. We've got kids who are reporting that stress is interfering with their learning, and we think that may be impacting their ability to enroll in AP courses. Or opportunities. Students don't have the opportunity to take AP courses. Maybe we don't even offer AP courses. So, so we're giving them examples of what those sticky notes would look like. Okay, so they do that task, and then the very last thing on the email says, please bring all your sticky notes to the meeting. So they've done all this work at home, and then they've brought the sticky notes to the meeting. At the very bottom of the email, this is what the bottom looks like, where they have links to the individual student reports. The 3 that they need are the 3 at the top. And then we also give them access to the disaggregation reports. And we ask them that to look at some of these drill down reports and just kind of see if there's places where they think that we have guidance gaps, that some of these issues are impacting, say, males at a different rate than females, or Hispanic students at a different rate than white students, or whatever. So, okay, so that's the pre-meeting email. And I'll show you how to set that up in a minute. Actually, I'm going to show you that right now. Okay, so when I'm setting that up, I'm going to go online, and I'm going to scroll down to the root cause section. This is really easy. So it's section 6, identify root causes. And I'm going to look at well, let me back up. The first thing we're going to do is update the Counseling Council email addresses. So I'm just going to check this to make sure that all my email addresses look correct. And then I'm going to go down to the next step, send the automated mailing to the school counseling council. Click on that. And the first thing we need to do is to decide, do you want the council to look at, actually when you log in, this is going to be the default. Everybody's going to get knowledge data. But do you also want them to look at personal social data and student opportunities? If you're doing Gold Star, you need to say yes to both of those. And then who's making this change? So you would, pull out your council member that's deciding this and, put them there. And then we're giving you another chance to verify the email addresses. And then finally, you're just giving us a couple assurances. I understand that all council members with valid email addresses will receive this message. If you want to see what it looks like, you'll open that up, and here's the exact message that will go out. So you can kind of take a peek at that to see what that will look like for your school. And then you're also going to click, I understand that the email that I am sending will enable all council members to view group data, no individual student data, for the reports that are checked above. And then we want to know who's verifying that they understand that the council is getting this data. And then you just click that send email to the advisory or to the council, and then poof, that will go out and everybody will have an email. The email will appear that it's coming from whoever's name is here. So their return email address and this person's name will be in the from box. So it's not going to appear as though it comes from us. It'll be from somebody that they know. Yeah, so we just send that out. Okay, one more prep and then I'll pause again for questions. Let's see, let me get the right presentation. There we go. And then the other thing we need to do to prep is to just make some posters. So during the council meeting, the council will break into small discussion groups. So there'll be 3 to 5 people per group. And then each small group needs a set of these posters. So there would be one poster for each priority goal. So let's say you have 12 priority goals. Each small group is going to have then 12 of these posters, and each one will have a different priority goal written in here. So when you're making these posters, you'd want to write the priority goal in here and then make your copy so that that priority goal gets reproduced on all of them. And then each small group gets a set of these, one poster for each small group, or for each priority goal. Let me say that again. Each small group gets a set of posters, one poster for each priority goal. Okay, and then basically, you'll see in a second, all of those sticky notes that people brought to the meeting are going to get stuck to this poster in their small groups, and then the small groups will discuss the data. So, okay, so let's pause here for questions. And Debbie, I'll jump in. We'll see if any hands are up, since we know that works now.
No. Yep, no questions, no hands up.
Okay, no questions, no hands up. Feel free to jump in when you need to. Okay, so let's walk through the meeting. I'm going to go through that pretty fast because I want to leave time to talk about activity exploration. And so here is the slides for your council. Current slide. Okay, so here's the agenda for the council. Basically, they're reviewing, they'll do the introduction of root causes, and then they'll do an analysis. Okay, so we go through all the review. I'll fly through this, and the process, we'll fly through that. And then we're reminding them, and I think this is always really important to do, that to me this is a little energizing to think, oh man, there are 6 steps and we've done 4 of them. So, that's great. Vision statement, remember for your schools, this is assumed that the vision that's embedded in the in the Lilly RFP is the vision for your schools. So you've done goals, resource expansion plan, and priority goals. Now we're getting ready to do root causes, and then there's just one more step for the council, which is to help you identify the activities. So, okay. Asking the council if they have questions, and then we're going into this month's task, which is to identify the root causes. So basically, same questions that you and I just kind of went over. On this slide, you're just reminding people here are our priority goals, so you're writing them in, which student group you had that goal for, what the choices that you wanted them to make, what the baseline data is for that priority goal, and where the target is. You may need to make this a little skinnier so that you can add on additional rows if you have, those 15, 20, 30 priority goals. As an alternative, you could print the report, the priority goals report, out of our system and just pass that out. Quite frankly, that might be easier than putting the slide up. So, okay. So then you're telling folks, okay, here's what we're going to check. Do our students have the knowledge that they need to make sound decisions? Do they have personal social issues that are interfering with making decisions? And do they have the opportunities that we need to give them? So here we're saying, we know you looked at data reports before you came to our meeting, but just as a reminder, here's how data is reported, that in the guidance needs report, the students fill out, they responded to different questions, yes, don't know, no, and that's where we got the data that was in the report that you looked at. Same thing with the counselor survey report. And then the student assistance needs report, or the counseling needs report. So, okay, so that's where the data came from, and we're saying to folks, thank you so much for looking at that data before you got here and for bringing all your sticky notes. And now let's do the analysis. So we're telling the council that the process that we're using to build consensus is a Delphi consensus building model. First thing we're going to do is look at having individuals look at a data analysis. And guess what? We've already done that. You did that at home. So as individuals, you've already pawed through all that data. So we've done step one. In step two, we're going to have small group discussions and come to a small group consensus with 3 to 5 people. And then we're going to go to large group and come to large group consensus. So step one, we're finished, did that at home. And you all brought the sticky notes to our meeting with the priority goals and possible root causes on them. And so now we're ready for our small group discussion. So you're letting folks know that there's a set of posters on their table, and you're also maybe having them open it up so they can kind of see it. And then you're letting them know there's one poster for each of our priority goals. And what we'd like you to do is to consider one at a time each of our priority goals, and begin by putting your sticky notes up that you have for that priority goal, and just sorting them by, is this a guidance or knowledge issue, a student assistance issue, or is this an opportunity issue? And then step two is, once you've got all your sticky notes up, to just start talking in your small group of 3 to 5. What do you think in your small group is causing the students to not make the choice that we want them to make? So in as much as possible, we want to point to data to back up your opinion. Then step 3 in your small group is to select 1 to 3 root causes on each of your posters that you think should be the focus of the school counseling program next year. So you're coming to consensus in your small group about what you think the school counseling program should focus on, because it's a root cause for that priority goal. So, and then some tips before they get started. We're asking them, please don't spend time talking about the following. We don't want to know at this point why the root cause exists. At this point, we don't want to know what activities can we do to address the root cause. We're going to do a lot of exploration, and we'll talk about that next month, but we don't want to get bogged down with that this month. And again, we're just, we're not saying that that's a bad discussion. We're just going to hold off on it until next month. Giving that tip, this discussion, as we've observed it over the past 20 years, it can really kind of get sidetracked. So we think these tips will help keep the discussion focused on, what are the root causes, and not get off in tangents. Then we're telling people, so what happens if a great activity pops into your head? You know, you're discussing, you know, that kids don't know what a 529 plan is, and you're thinking, oh man, I heard about this school in Vigo County and they're doing the coolest thing. So we don't want to discuss it right now, but we want to save that idea. So in the room, you've posted a possible activities parking lot. And any good idea that comes up that you want to bring up next month, you know, just write down, okay, here's the root cause, kids don't know what a 529 plan is, and here's a possible activity. And so that single person goes up, jots that down really fast on the board, or maybe they wait till, or on the poster, maybe they wait till break and do it then so they're not taking discussion time. And then we've honored that person's thoughts, but more importantly, those are good thoughts that we want to bring back to the next meeting. So we want to jot them down. And again, we don't want this discussion to be about activities, but activities tend to pop into people's minds right now. So we just want to get them quickly out of the discussion onto this poster, and then we want to bring them to the next meeting. So, okay. So after you've given the group time to discuss all those posters, then the next step is to go to large group consensus. So what we're doing in your large group reporting is that one at a time, one at a time you're going to look at each priority goal. And then you're just going to have a quick report. So you're going to turn to the first small group and you can say, okay, you know, will you share one possible root cause for this priority goal? And you're going to ask the group to start their statement with, we believe one root cause for this priority goal might be that. And that's really key for a number of reasons. One, the word might tells them that nothing's set in stone this month. We're just figuring out what we want to consider. Nothing's set in stone right now. We just are figuring out what we want to consider. Also, this is another place where the discussion can go on for hours, and we want this to be really quick, one after another, boom, boom, boom. You know, this is a root cause, maybe this is a root cause, maybe this is a root cause. So it's really, really quick. When I'm doing this, I usually prep the first table that I'm going to pick on, that I'm going to call on, and so what I'll do is I'll go up to them and I'll say, okay, I'm going to call on you guys first. Can you model the behavior that I'm looking for? Which is a real quick response that's only 3 to 5, maybe 7 words. That's going to start with the prompt, we believe one root cause might be that. So, and then the kind of the rules for this is that we're only going to share one concern at a time, and then we're going to move on to the next table. We're going to limit the statement to a sentence, and we're not going to include activities or why we think it's a root cause. We're just going to say this might be a root cause. So, okay, and then what you'll do is you'll go round and round and round the room until all of the tables have had a chance to report. When you go around once, then you'll go around again, and then around again. And when nobody else has any other ideas, then you're finished with that priority goal. Okay, now, here's how we're going to reach consensus. As each root cause is shared, the other thing that we're providing for each person at their table is one of these sheets for each priority goal. So this is an 8.5 by 11. And if there's 8 priority goals, then there's going to be 8 of these, each with the priority goal, a different priority goal written at the top. So when you're back in this part where all these possible root causes are coming up, then you're going to, the way I like to do it is someone will say, you know, root cause is that kids don't know what a FAFSA is. And then I'll repeat what they'll say with a number. I'll say number 1, kids don't know what a FAFSA is. And then everybody will write that down after number 1. Number 2, and then whatever idea came up second, I'll repeat what they said, number 2, and then I'll say the 3 to 5 words that, you know, describe the next idea. So as the ideas are coming out, everybody's going to write them down on this brainstorm sheet. Okay, so then we're asking folks, after all the ideas are out, we're asking them to check the third that they think are most likely to be having the biggest impact on that specific priority goal. So which ones do they think, you know, you should really be focusing on, because they have the biggest impact. And we're looking for a third of the whole list. So if there's 9 things on the list, they pick 3. If there's 12 things on the list, they pick 4. So a third. Okay. Now, at the same time that all that is going on, let me back up, as we're having this discussion, when each idea comes up, and I'm saying number 1, kids don't know what a FAFSA is, people at their seats are writing it down on their paper, and then somebody on your steering team is writing the same idea down on an Instagraph. So number 1, students don't know what a FAFSA is. Number 2, whatever idea comes up there. And then we'll simply, after we have finished all of the discussion for that priority goal, then we'll simply complete the Instagraph. And remember, with an Instagraph, however many ideas there are, people get a third of those. People get to select a third of those. So first person comes up and either puts an X or their sticky dots on, and this time we're building the bar chart out to the side horizontally. So now, if you have, let me do one more slide. And then afterwards, we're just doing a consensus check. So we're having a discussion about this Instagraph, and we're saying, okay, we've got 2 that really have significantly more votes than the others. Can we agree on these 2 things? Should we, consider those 2? And so you're just having that discussion really quick, and people are saying, nope, we like 1 and 3. So then you're going to the consensus check. Can we live with those 2 root causes as the areas that our school counseling program will address, and can we publicly support these root causes as areas our school counseling program will address? So can we live with it? Can we support it publicly? And then we're moving on to the next priority goal. So I think you can see why this discussion has to happen so quickly. You really got to keep it moving, especially if you have a lot of priority goals. So yeah, so it's just going to take some time. So okay. Then finally, we're asking folks to think about activities that they could do in their business or their faith-based organization or their community organization that could address those root causes. So how could you help kids understand what a FAFSA is? So next month, we're going to ask them to actually commit to doing things. This month, we're asking them to be thinking about how could you be helping in these areas. Okay, that's it for the meeting, and let me take questions real quickly.
Yes, so we have one question from Ellen that says, is it developmentally appropriate for elementary grade levels to have 5 separate goals per grade, or can we have 5 goals for the elementary that is associated with our overall school improvement plan?
Again, this is really subjective, and it's just up to you. So either one of those options is okay. I would be able to, just make sure that you can kind of justify why you went either direction. I would say, though, that if you're thinking about the Lilly Grant and you're wanting to be comprehensive, I would be looking at what are you doing at each grade level. Remembering that this is a 4-year implementation. So let's say you're in elementary school, and let's say you've got grades K through 4. Well, let's say K through 6. So it might be in the first year of implementation, you're going to focus on kindergarten and first grade only. So then it's not too overwhelming because you're just beefing up your K and year 1 school counseling program. And then year 2, you're going to maintain K and 1 and add 2 and 3. And then in year 3, you're going to add 4 and 5. So, I guess I really encourage you, if you're thinking about a comprehensive program, to think about this over a 4-year implementation period where you're not developing everything at once. And then also, we're going to talk in a minute, real quick, about different types of delivery methods. And so that also allows you to drop in like 20 activities all at once, because it's not you that's doing the work. It's your teacher advisor program, or it's a community-based guidance initiative. So just be thinking, about different ways you could do this in a more comprehensive way, through a stepped implementation over 4 years, or by getting other people to help you. So, okay. Any other questions, Debbie?
No, that's all. That's good. Thank you.
Okay. So as soon as you know what the root causes are, you're going to start doing exploration. And in that section, let me go back to the process tab, here it is. So I'm going down to section 7, Explore Delivery Models and Activities. There is a video that tells you how to do this. So like the day after your meeting, and again, I apologize because this is on fast track. I know it is. We're trying to get everybody finished in time if they want to submit that implementation grant. So like the day after the meeting, your steering team is going to get together and talk about, okay, let's go now find solutions for those root causes. And there's a video that your steering team, not your council, just your steering team will watch to help you set that up. I want to show you a couple of slides from that video that I just want to emphasize. So when you're out exploring activities, so you're doing school visits or you're at conferences or whatever, we don't want to just be out haphazardly looking for things that would be cool to do. You know, we really want your activities to be focused on your root causes. That's why we don't think it's applicable for you to just copy somebody else's model. We want the activities that you're finding to be focused on your root causes. So you're creating your own model. So all of your activities that you're exploring should do one of two things. You should be looking for activities that will address your root causes, or if you're interested in Gold Star, you have to meet all of the, you have to have activities that will address all of the school counseling competencies for students. So you may be looking for some activities that address your root causes, and you may be looking for some activities that address these Indiana competencies. And it may be that there's overlap here. There probably will be big overlap here. And it may be that you have some activities, like Activity 5 here, that can do both. You're going to hit a root cause and hit an indicator. So I'm going to show you how to find these indicators in a minute. And after your activities are entered, we'll have 2 crosswalks. This is next month. I'm just looking ahead. We'll have 2 crosswalks. One will help you determine the degree to which you've addressed all of your root causes, and the other crosswalk will help you determine the degree to which you've met all of the Indiana competencies. So, but right now, when you're out in exploration mode, you're looking for fixes for your root causes and ways to address the counseling competencies for student indicators. Also, one more thing. Remember that in a home run is finding an activity that will address 6 or 7 indicators all in one activity. So, so kind of be looking for that as well. Okay. Then the other thing that I wanted to talk about today, I wanted to talk more about this idea of a systemic approach. So as you're out exploring activities, we also would like you, and I can't emphasize this enough, we'd like you to explore delivery methods. So in addition to looking for individual activities, go out and find a school that's doing an advisor-advisee program, or talk to someone who has expertise in that. Go out and talk to folks who have done a community-based guidance initiative and see, you know, how did they set that up and how did they embed part of the guidance curriculum in these community-based activities, or a parent-based, or how did they integrate their guidance activities with the academic curriculum. We're going to be having a convening in mid-April to help schools learn how to do this, and it'll be in Indianapolis. We don't have the date set yet. We we're going to work on that next week in a major way. So be looking for that, but that'll be in April. It'll be in Indianapolis. So if you'd like to explore each of these delivery methods, come talk with us. This is an area that we have expertise in and feel really strongly about. So, okay, I think that's it. I just wanted to make sure that we had those 2 things in place. Okay, and then just a reminder too that over the next 4 years, we're going to start in April putting together a cohort of schools that want to implement a system of one or more different delivery methods, and we'll be supporting those schools over a 4-year period. That cohort of school is probably be a small cohort, but of schools that want to work with us to as part of the implementation phase to implement these different delivery methods. So okay. So that's that, and now I want to look at the rest of how we're exploring. Okay, so we're at the point in time where you know what your root causes are. Now we got to go find the fixes. So the first thing you're going to do is sit down with your steering team and watch this video, and then you're going to have that discussion. You're going to conduct this discussion. And you're going to do a couple things. One is to complete ASA's Elements of Model School Counseling Programs. So let me open that up real quickly. And this is a Google Doc. And basically, from our experience of doing this work for 20 years on really a leading edge way, and also a literature review, looking at our schools that have raised student achievement through RSC, these are the elements that they have in common. So they have an organizational structure, they have program foundations, they have professionalism, they have counselor, certain attributes of their counselors, they have data collection and review, program resources, and what else? Program goals, they have root causes, they have student guidance system, a counseling system, advocacy system, program management, and student outcomes. So, so these, and I thought, and I'll go back, all of these you will have met from RSC. There's only a few that you have not, and that is on the implementation, on the organizational structure. I think I'm looking at an old version of this. On the organizational structure, part of what we found that model school counseling programs do use a network of different delivery methods, and so that's something that possibly you're not doing right now. And then there's another place down here where it mentions the delivery methods. I'll put both of those in red, so as you're going through, you'll know all the black things you've got nailed through RSC, as long as all of your things meet criteria. But those others, the different delivery methods, those may be things you want to think about. And then the other thing is that, let me go back. Oops, where am I? And actually this should be 2 steps. My apology. We'll fix this as soon as we close. The other thing is there'll be another step here that asks you to look at the typical activities that are provided in a model school counseling program. And I notice that's down at the bottom of this, so I can just pull it up. We just don't have the link in the right place. So as I scroll down, although you'll click and this will open up separately. So these are common student opportunities in model school counseling programs, and we've done this kind of by building level. So so here are the opportunities. Participate in a rigorous curriculum. That is an engagement type of activity. And we're saying, this is green because we're saying that it starts at the primary level, but you can see that that is something that would then continue at the intermediate, middle, and high school level. So here's some engagement things. Participate in a job field trip, learn about financial aid, learn options for continuing one's education. So we started out with the ones that begin in primary from our perspective, and then if I scroll down, here are things that would start in intermediate schools, and then things that would start in the middle school, and then things that would start with the high school. Sometimes people look and they think, oh my gosh, the middle school doesn't have very much. But remember, the middle school is continuing, you know, all these things that were started in earlier grades. But the biggest one, the one that we think is the most important of all of these, is that every student has an opportunity to develop a written four-year high school course plan. We think that is key to a sound school counseling program, and that's a huge undertaking to make sure that every student, every 8th grader, is able to do that before they leave the middle school. So, okay, so that just kind of gives you an idea of the kind of programming, the kind of activities that are found in a model school counseling program. Okay, so that will appear, that will be 2 different steps here, one for the model activities and then one for the elements. Okay, so then on the next step is where you're able to review the Indiana School Counseling Competencies. So that's going to take you to DOE's website, and you can scroll down on that document and look for the different competencies that apply to your school. So you would need then to have some kind of activity that helps students to do all of these indicators. And again, most of your activities are going to hit several of these at once, so it's not a it's not, you know, overwhelming. Okay, so that's that step. And then after you've done those 3 things, you're going to create an exploration plan. So if I click on this, I've already filled this all out a little bit for demo school, but you can see here's my plan right now. I'm going, in demo school, we're doing 3 site visits. We're going to see a program in Benton County, in Vigo County, and in a high school in Perry County. We're going to, or actually past date, where we did visit, did go to one conference, and then we've explored all of these other resources. I'll show you those in a second, but we've identified who's going to explore those. And then if there's anything else that you want to do, you'll do that. You'll write that here. So this is your exploration plan, and we'll give you lots of different resources to find these places. Okay, so let's go back. So that's the plan. Now, how do you find these places to explore? So one is to look at our RSC School Counseling Site Visit Guide. So if I click here, this gives you information on like how to do a site visit. We'll have lots of, we're still in the process of building these resources, but all these resources will be here. And then this actually is live now, I just haven't linked it, but if you want to go see, you know, look for schools that have these different delivery methods, you'll be able to find schools that have that, or find people that can talk to you about it. Okay, so that's that one. Professional development opportunities, if you click there, this just gives you conferences that we're aware of, and this one in yellow then is the convening that we will have in April to help you explore delivery methods, and then, you know, other conferences that are available. This NCAN conference, by the way, we have presented at that in the past. We've also presented at, gosh, I think all of these, most of them. But this is a good conference. It's all looking at community-based guidance. So if that's something that interests you, this would be a good one to go to, and it's coming up in Indianapolis in April, which is nice. Okay, so that's that. Then we're exploring root cause advice from other schools. So check this out. This is, I think, cool. What we've done here is we've come up with your root causes if they're selected from the list of, we've come up with your priority goals if they're selected from the list of priority goals that we provided. And then we've, at the end of your implementation, we ask you if you want to give advice to other schools, and most of our schools do. So if I click on this one, discuss their future goals or future plans for their school counselor, you know, here's advice from schools who met that goal, from Brebeuf and Chesterton, and then here's advice from schools that did not meet their goal. So, you know, this I think, if that is one of your priority goals, this is really going to help you think about the kinds of activities that you might do to address some of the root causes behind those priority goals. So, okay, that's a kind of a cool report, I think. Lots of advice from other schools across the country, but mainly in Indiana. Okay, so that's the advice. You can also look in our school counseling lesson plan database. So there's all different kinds of ways that you can search this, but let's say that one of the problems was that kids didn't know what a FAFSA was. You can just type in the word FAFSA, or let's say that they don't know what their career interests are. Let's type in the words career interest, and then we're going to do a search. And I have 7 different schools, most of which are Indiana schools, that have entered a lesson plan that is a lesson plan about career interest inventory. And just as an example, let's see, this first one was entered by Julie Brenninger, a wonderful counselor at Zionsville West Middle School. And you can see that 3 other schools like that lesson plan enough that they actually imported it into their school counseling program. So if you like one of these ideas, you can import it into your school's lesson plans. And that also kind of gives you an idea of, it's kind of like a vetting. It gives you an idea of which ones of these might be really well written or has more resources or whatever. So you can see, Julie's had 3. That's great. Here's one that had 18. Here's another that had 6, 6, and 3. So you can kind of look through these and find maybe the ones that other counselors have liked. So, okay. So that's the lesson plans. Lesson plans, where am I? So number 4, community-based data. So let's say, let's go to FAFSA this time. Let's say I'm looking for is anybody in the community doing activities around FAFSA? So I'm just going to search, and I've got, remember this is a database from over 2,000 organizations that have worked with our initiatives. I've got 278 different activities that have been implemented by community groups. So maybe I want to narrow that down a little bit. Let's say I know that my library is really engaged with me and I want to see our public libraries around the state doing anything around FAFSA. I have no idea what I'm going to get, but I get 9. So here's, I could tell my library, why don't you talk to the library in Bloomfield or in Corydon to see what they're doing around helping kids understand FAFSA. So, okay. So that's the community-based activities. Site visit summaries and possibilities. So this is one that we just launched this morning, actually. So if you want to search for, you can use this to search for either an activity or a delivery method. Since we're really big on delivery methods, I'm going to do delivery method. And let's say that I don't want to narrow this down at all, but I just want to see, is anybody else doing teacher advisor programs? And again, this database is not quite built yet because we just launched it. But if I search on that, whoops, that's interesting. What did I do wrong? At any rate, when I search on that, delivery methods, yeah, I guess we don't have any in on that one, but when I search on that, there will be schools that have teacher advisor programs as well as experts in that area that you could follow up with to learn about that delivery method. So we are in the process of putting in some of our favorite schools. We'll probably do a query on Counselor Talk to get other ideas in the next few days. And then as you start to find places that might be of interest, you can add those in as well, and I'll show you how to do that. Or you can search for activities that have been entered. So this time I'm going to look at activities. And again, I probably don't have anything in here because the database is so new. But you can search for FAFSA, or you could search for FAFSA just for 11th graders. You could search for FAFSA 11th graders activities that are done as part of a teacher advisor program, and then just hit that search button. So, okay, so that will bring up possible site visits or people to interview that could help you learn about different ideas. The next one, number 6, takes you to Lily's Research and Resources report, and then 7 just takes you to a Google page where you can do a Google search. So after you have done some of these, we would like you to enter a site visit summary or a possibility. So when I click this, I'm going to, it's first of all, it's telling me that I've already entered one site visit possibility, and then here are other site visits that I have planned. So this is kind of cueing me after I do these visits to just to type in information about the visit. So I'm saying I'm typing in information about an activity, or I'm typing information in about a delivery method. So, okay, so that's how we're going to build the database. So, please, please, please help us do that, because then, everybody benefits, specifically kids. And then the last two steps at the very end of this, before we meet with your council next time, we're going to kind of look for ideas that we want to recommend to the council. So the first thing we're going to do is submit possible delivery methods. So these are delivery methods that we want to suggest to the council for their consideration. It doesn't mean that they're going to do it, but or you're going to do it, but it just means that we want the council to talk about and consider, do we want to put in a teacher advisor program? Do we want to have a community-based guidance delivery method? If you click on these, they're each defined, so that might help you a little bit. So, okay, so this is just kind of setting up the discussion for next time as you go through all this exploration. And then we're working on right now also submitting for consideration possible activities. And that, again, these are activities that we'd be saying to the council, these are some things we found in all of our exploration that we think that's worth looking at. So you'll type those in as well, and that will be ready in the next day or two. So, okay. Now, I think that is maybe a little overwhelming because there's a lot of steps there. So let's just go back. You're going to have the root cause meeting, and you're going to get that, finished in the next couple weeks. Immediately after that, you're going to sit down with your steering team and basically develop this exploration plan, and then go out in the next 2 or 3 weeks after that and start doing your exploration. So before you have your third and final council meeting, we want to have all this exploration done so that you can make recommendations and suggestions to your council about possible delivery methods and possible activities. And yeah, so I think that's it. I think there's one more thing on a slide, and then we'll close. Take questions and close. Let's see. Let me make this slide a little bigger. Oops, from current slide. Okay, so after your meeting, one thing I forgot to say is that after your root cause meeting, there is a little steering team activity. We do want to make sure that at least your steering team is digging into the drill down reports for the guidance needs, counseling needs, and personal social needs. And we're really looking for, are there differences in knowledge that is maybe not appropriate between grade levels, or is appropriate? Maybe it's okay that your 9th graders don't know what a FAFSA is, but it's not okay that your 12th graders don't know it. Is there difference between genders, race, ethnicities, income levels, special ed and non-special ed kids, kids whose parents have been to college, or kids who get different kinds of grades on the report cards? So we want to make sure that at least your steering team is drilling down into that data to see if you have guidance gaps. So, and again, if you do, then when we get to activities, we're going to address that. Okay, and that's what the drill down reports look like. So when you get to those reports, you can just use these drill down reports. Okay, there's some examples. Yeah, so here's an example. Do you know where to find extra help for your courses if you need it? We know that, let me go back a slide. Oops. When we look across grade levels, we're not finding much of a discrepancy. Pretty much 3/4 of the kids are saying they know where to find extra help. That also means that 1/4 do not know where to find extra help, which if I were in schools, that would concern me. If we look at the drill down then between free and reduced lunch, we see that paid lunch students know where to find extra help with an 8-point difference between free and reduced and paid lunch. If I look at report card grades, man, look at the discrepancy here. This is a real school's data. Kids who are getting D's and F's are saying they don't know where to find extra help. So this could be a place where you could go after those kids. Remember, there's a student list generator, so we can find out who these 9 kids are, who these 81 kids are, and if they've given us permission to release their names to you, you can get their names and their email addresses. So, okay, rubric items. On your root causes, one or more root causes exist for each priority goal, and the type of goal for each priority goal is indicated, and then minutes are kind of the same. I did forget to show you, because I jumped straight to activity exploration. To get your root causes in, it's really easy peasy. So to enter the root causes, look how easy this is. You're just going to click enter. You're going to, here will be your priority goals, and then you're just going to say add a root cause for this priority goal. Root cause, just write it in here, what's getting in the way, and then is this a lack of knowledge, personal social issue, or a lack of student opportunity, and then save it. So really easy. So, okay, I think that's it. We're a little bit over. I keep trying to hit that 60-minute mark on the button, but just a lot to cover in this hurry up RSC process this year. So, okay, Debbie, questions?
Yes, we have, I think, 3, maybe 4. Bridget asks, when referring to activities in regards to elementary, can you provide an example? Is this referring to guidance activities?
Yeah, well, activities are just to kind of review, and I know there's just so much of this, sometimes it all gets jumbled, so I appreciate very much the question. So just as a review, there's 3 kinds of activities. One are guidance activities, where you'd be in like teaching mode, helping kids master knowledge. So classroom guidance is normally how that's done. But the guidance activities can also happen through a teacher advisor program or community-based guidance initiative. It doesn't have to be the school counselor implementing. So guidance activities is one kind of activity. Then counseling activities are the activities that are helping students overcome a personal social issue that's interfering with learning. So counseling activities are not for all kids. Counseling activities are going to be done by a licensed professional, so it would be a licensed school counselor, or in some schools it's also a community-based licensed counselor who's actually has an office in the school but is doing community-based counseling, and they just have a desk in the school. And then the other kind of activity is advocacy as well. So when we talk about activities, we're talking about all 3 kinds of activities. Yeah, so I think that answers that question. If not, ask again. Debbie, other questions?
Yes. I think this, Bridget also asks, can I look at 7 to find activities? And I think that is, our tools are ready to go, right?
Yes, so let me go back to there, and absolutely, so I'm going to go to the process tab. I'm going to scroll down to 7, and we're looking at where is it? We're looking at site visit summaries and possibilities. So that's where you're going to go to look for activities that either our staff or others have typed in. So others are typing them in down here after they've done the site visit. They're typing in activities or possibilities. Or our staff, if it's from our staff, that'll appear under demo school. So I've been busy the past couple days typing activities in that we recommend. So that would be how you would find specific schools. And then the other part is that this is the step that I apologize didn't get entered into here. We split it into 2 steps, but the other part is looking at the school counseling site visit guide. There will be another step right below here that will take you to this document that just talks about what are the looks like we're in the process of fixing that. That it takes you to the activities that are common in model school counseling programs. Okay. Yep, so that's that, and so you can look at activities and site visits here that other schools have typed in, or you can look at our recommended list. Other questions, Debbie?
Yes, the last one is from Michelle, who asks, is there some flexibility with the March tasks? Our school is on spring intercession for 2 weeks. Part of our counseling staff will be at conference in San Diego. That's yay.
Yeah.
And that leaves us about a week and a half to get all this done, not to mention I-STEP is happening in March.
Yeah, it's crazy. So the answer is yes. So, and I'm glad you brought that up. Most of our schools are doing really well. We've been, Debbie and Janet have been touching base with me, and I've been talking to district folks, and we know that most of you have been working your tails off, but you're kind of keeping up. Some of you are falling behind a little bit, which is fine. And what we always suggest is that if the timeline that we gave you doesn't work, just write your own timeline and get that to us. So you can kind of see that in this page, these are the 2 steps that we were thinking you would do in March. And the reason for that is because then we have a step in April, and then we have a step in May. So we're trying to get you done before that Lilly deadline. If you're not applying for the Lilly grant, then that gives us plenty of time to adjust our timeline. But feel free to call. Like we've had several schools call already, and they've talked with Janet or talked with Debbie, and said we're going to have a hard time with this timeline, and here's our proposed timeline. And as long as you're thinking about when you need to be finished by, and make sure that everything gets done by that point to meet your needs, we're fine with that. We're very, very flexible with deadlines. So yeah. Now I will tell you this though. Some of our system is automated with reminders, so you may get reminders even though we have an alternative timeline. But if you know that you've talked with us about an alternative timeline, just ignore those reminders. Janet, Debbie, anything you guys want to jump in here with that?
Janet and I really do appreciate those of you who let us know whenever you need extra time, because it does keep us from bothering you, but also keeps us in the loop. So thank you. And that's all the questions we have. Janet, anything?
The thing that I would add is Sue's review of program goals and priority goals at the beginning of today's session hopefully makes more sense now that we've gotten to the end of the webinar today about why it needs to be comprehensive if we're looking at that Lilly application. So I appreciated that review today.
Good. Yeah, and don't if Janet or Debbie call you and they say, oh gosh, you only have, or they might even say a needs revision, and because they're thinking, oh, they only have one goal, and that doesn't seem like a lot, but it is a lot for you. Just call us, and talk about that and explain, that yeah, this is good. So you're always in the driver's seat. We're just here to help you, but you're the only one who knows, what you need at your school in your situation. If you get yourself in a situation that we think is going to compromise the competitiveness on your grant for Lilly, we'll tell you that. We'll advise you, but then that's your choice. If you get yourself in a position where you're not meeting a requirement for Gold Star or RAMP, we'll advise you about that. But again, that's your choice. So you're always in the driver's seat. One other thing that I kind of think I misspoke on, in looking for activities, where this says explore, this will end up being 8, but these 8 steps are 8 different ways to search for activities. So these are all, that question that came up, how do we find activities? These are all the different ways that you have. And in the program exploration plan, what you're doing here is you're delegating tasks. So you don't have to do everything. You've got a steering team. Just sit down and say, okay, who's going to look at the site visit guide? Who's going to look at advice from other schools? Who's going to look at the lesson plan database? So, divvy that up so that everybody's, looking at different things, and then you'll come back together and say, okay, what do we want to recommend to our council in terms of delivery methods and activities? So, you know, Andy's the only one who has looked at the lesson plan database, but Andy can say, man, I found this really cool activity that I think would nail this priority goal or this root cause. And then he's advocating for that. And so you just kind of talk it out. How do we fit together delivery methods and activities that we're going to recommend next month to address our root causes? So, okay. Debbie or Janet, anything else? Any other questions, Debbie?
No, on the question side, we're good.
Okay. Okay. So again, I wish we had more time for all of this. You know, unfortunately we don't. Probably nobody understands how hard you're working to get this all done. We certainly understand, and you know, I always like to say that we know nobody's giving you a bonus for doing this work, and you're not getting a corner office or a new, you know, nifty title. But you are doing good work for kids. You know, you're really digging into that data, figuring out what choices kids need to make, and then doing what you have to do to develop a program that's going to help kids make those choices. And down the road, keep in mind that your data is going to change. You know, once you get this all designed and implemented, students are going to start to make those choices, and that feels really good. Also, down the road, when we start talking about activities next month, we'll be looking at activities that you will no longer do because they don't align with your root causes. So while this feels really overwhelming now, most Gold Star schools or RAMP schools that we work with will tell you that after this is all done, it actually ends up being less work because your work is going to be focused and you're going to let go of the things you're doing that don't really make as big of a difference, especially those non-program activities if you have them. So yeah, so okay, so that's it. Call us, use us. You know, we view ourselves as part of your team, so we want to be there to help. I know that Janet and Debbie have said that you're using them well, so that's a good thing. And if you haven't called them yet, you know, just pick up that phone if you have a question and give them a call. So, okay, I think we'll close there then. Thank you, everybody. Good luck, and know that we know how hard you're working, and on behalf of your students and your parents and your principal and everybody else who maybe doesn't know, we thank you because we know that you're really going to, you know, you're doing a great job. So thanks.